was in Pulchok, and I'm glad that I started my engineering in that institution. So when I went there for the first time, when I wanted to start my career or study in civil engineering, I just had in my mind that once I will become an engineer, then everything will be fine. I had no other future plannings in my head. I didn't know anything. What will I do, or what is there in my future waiting for me? I was just uh, knowing that I'm going to do my Bachelor of Engineering in Civil, and then my life will be set. So that was the first impression when I wanted to start. But when I uh, entered inside the university, then I realized that there are so many of us with the same idea, with the same vision, and with the curiosity for the life. And somehow I realized that just to be an engineer will not be enough, because from my early childhood, I always wanted to be a person who can have some impactful change in the society. I didn't know what sort of change I wanted in my childhood, but somehow that the craving was inside me. So when I realized that uh, having my study in civil engineering, it will open up so many doors for me in different parts of my country and in international perspective as well, I started to search more. What can I do after my Bachelor of Engineering in Nepal, and what sorts of preparation should I make during my study there? Can you hear me properly? Srishti ji, can you hear
Yes,
me?
yes, yeah.
Okay, that's good. And but the fact is that I was like every one of you who are right now in your Bachelor of Study. Sometimes we would like to pursue something in our life, but we don't know how to. We don't know which sorts of preparation do we need to have at that time. So I was like the same. I wanted to do something concrete in my life, but I was unknown about the opportunities, about the steps, procedure, and I just sometimes I was confused within myself, but I tried my best to encourage myself inside that things will come slowly when I'm moving forward with my dream ahead. And when I was about to complete my civil engineering, uh, there is a semester in our fourth year where we have to do a project in a group in the context of Nepal. And then I had an opportunity to do a project in arsenic aquifer sealing technology. Actually, that is one of the stepping stone in my career. Right now, when I look back that time, then I can never forget what I learned during that time. I can never forget what challenges did I forget at that time, and what sort of strength did I receive during that time when I was doing that research with my team. So I would say that time was a, a game changer time for me when when I look back my career in water sector. So this is the picture you can see here, where I was uh, doing some sorts of field work, trying to help our workers there and trying to manage our site work. So, as I have explained, it was arsenic aquifer sealing research work in Novalparasi district of Nepal, and the project was funded by UNICEF and FINIDA. And after I completed my civil engineering thesis, and when we submitted everything at that year, and I finally became an engineer, then I got an opportunity to be a part of water safety plan project in Department of Water Supply and Sewerage Nepal, which project was supported by World Health Organization Nepal. Here you can see the picture where we were sent to some of the pilot projects of our uh, pilot project initiatives of the work WHO and our Department of Water Supply and Sewerage was doing at that time. And this place is one of the known pilot project areas of Pokhara. At that time, it was not metropolitan city; it was Pokhara municipality, Pokhara sub-metropolitan city. I meant to say. And if anyone have any question, you can write us here or can ask us here directly. Yes, I will continue with the slides now. Uh, and in that time when I was doing that project work in water safety plan, I came to realize that the passion I always had within me from my childhood, somehow I was achieving that, and I was towards that passion. I started to realize that I love to go out in the field. I love to interact with the people, with the actual problem in the ground, working in the grassroots level of the problem. And in that time of water safety plan project, I learned a lot of skills that has something to deliver in the sector of ensuring safe drinking water to the community, to our nation and international platforms, international perspectives as well. Then at the same, between the year 2010 and 2012, I also got an opportunity to be a founder member of an organization called Soroptims International. That is another stepping stone or uh, encouragement platform for me to reach the place where I am today, and I look forward to it more ahead in my career. This organization has always provided me different national and international platforms where I can learn, where I can share our ideas. Doesn't matter if it's in one profession or if it has to cross connect with different other sector of our expertise, but I always found some idea where I could connect my idea with water and other areas of professionalism so that I could enhance my ideas further in water career and can relate some other solutions that would give a balance to bring a particular and a concrete solution to that problem. Specifically, when I talk about uh, technologies that would help to balance solution in water sector, in today's world, digitization has brought a huge impact, and we cannot think our life without digital world in the present context. And Soroptims International has enabled a huge platform for me in international sector where I can reach out to different experts in the sector, and I can share my ideas and get feedbacks and brainstorm together so that we can reach to different platforms with like-minded perspectives. So I became official founding member of Soroptimist International in 2012. And in the same year, I had an opportunity to pursue my master's degree in Germany, in the city called Cologne. In this slide, you can see the place where it shows my university premises, and also in one part of the slide, you can see I was presenting there, and there was a photo where I was in the podium during the time of my graduation. Sometimes life brought you so much of pleasure when you think of your dream in your professional career, and at the same time it fulfills uh, it fulfills with it gives you so much of pleasure, or it gives you a kind of fulfilling um, uh, feeling inside, that you're also completing the dream, or giving pleasure to your family members. And when I was graduating from my university in water supply technologies, there in Technical University of Cologne, then my father came for my graduation, and at that time, I cannot describe how I felt when I saw my father, mm, uh, when he explained what he taught me when I was a young girl, and how would I pursue my career, and how he was seeing me at that time, and how he foresees my career ahead. He was so happy to see me doing good in my dreams that I was telling him from my younger age. And at that time, I promised myself that this wouldn't be my final point, or this wouldn't be the last place where I'm conducting or learning something in my academic line. At that time, I promised myself I would learn more. I would learn more. I need to uh, I need to understand my passion inside, what I really want to do in the water sector, which was the dream from the part where I was completing my Bachelor of Civil Engineering. And then I realized that my main passion in engineering sector is none other than water sector. And at that time, when I was pursuing my master degree, I had an opportunity to go to Brazil for my master thesis. At that time, I had no idea. I had literally no idea what does it mean to be in another continent. What does it mean to do something without any known person around you? What does it mean to handle your project work with the language you're not familiar with? So I challenged myself to be in that country, because I just had an idea that when I decide to go to another continent, for sure it would be a challenge. But there is another positive side, that I would definitely learn something new. And then that challenge will be a part of my learning in some time. I had that strong feeling inside, but I, I had no idea what I had to what I had to I had to do during that time to achieve all the challenges. To overcome all the challenges that I was facing. The first challenge I started to face was the language challenge, as I said. And I forgot to mention here when I'm talking about the challenge, wherever you go as a girl, as a woman, you have the same challenge. You get objectified so easy. You're judged with your every action, not not one, two, or like three or four you can count. There are numerous actions you're counted for, you're judged for. So I knew this phase of uh, uh, this kind of feelings of facing challenges when I was doing my project work in Novel Parasi district. At that time, when I went outside of Kathmandu for the first time, being a young girl without my family and with just male colleagues of my university. In the group of four, I was just only one girl in that project, Arsenic Aquifer Sealing Technology project. And at that time, when I try to explain this in this short webinar time, I may not justify all the challenges that justify the explanation of all the challenges I faced at that time. But to summarize in a brief, I really learned how to face, how to tackle those kind of gender challenges while pursuing your project work. Being a woman, when I was going to my field and when I was talking to people, doesn't matter if they are professionals, if they are workers, there are eyes all the time. Like, we know that people would count us as a professional. There are so many people who understand us as a normal human being without any gender partiality, but there are for sure eyes who always tries who like there are eyes who always try to take our strength down, who always try to demotivate our strength, our courage. So at that time, there were so many cases when I was challenged by my just being a girl, just being a woman. I was challenged while pursuing my field work, while I was documenting a sort of explanation to the workers at that time. So I started to learn how to deal with project work when you are not in your comfort zone. So I just switched back in my Novel Parasi project work because I wanted to explain that the idea, the observation, the experience I had during my end semester project in my bachelor study actually enabled me to handle the project work in my master time. That's why I told in the beginning of my explanation that that project in my bachelor study was a stepping stone in my career in the field of my interest in water sector. So when I was ready to do my master thesis in Brazil, the first challenge I had, as I said, was language. I had no idea how difficult it would be to interact with local people there with just little knowledge I had at that time regarding Portuguese language. That was not something related to our own. Uh, that was not a kind of challenge regarding water sector, but that was a challenge beyond my area. That was a challenge that I had to prepare myself in order to do the work I really wanted to when I really wanted to complete my master thesis. So at a point of time, I realized that not being a person of South uh, American continent, not being a person of the local, not being a person who knows the local language, and not being a person where people can easily feel that, uh, okay, this person, somehow when they knew that when I was from Nepal, most of them were confused, and then they were asking me, was I really from that far place? Was I really from the place where they had, like, so many of had no idea where Nepal was? And about 40% of people I met in Brazil would tell me that if Nepal lies inside Europe, because there is a place called Napol, and they would relate Nepal for Napol. So I came to know that when you are from a place, people would not know about your origin, people would not know about what strength you can bring, then that is also a positive side of challenge you face, because you always try to push your boundary. At that time, I realized that this is the time when I need to polish myself more. I need to be more confident. I need to be more capable in my idea, so that I can explain people what I wanted to do. And it is my responsibility to tell them. It was my responsibility to inform them, to tell them that I was trying to do a project which would be benefited to that area. So when I completed my master thesis in Brazil, then I had another uh, sort of confidence inside me, that I came to realize that if I will be sent to any part of the world, then for sure there will be challenges and there are problems while pursuing my work, but I will never give up, and I will stand out strong and complete my work. At that time, facing the challenges in language, facing the challenge being a girl, being a woman alone from your project, from your area, then you somehow crave that kind of confidence within you, so that you start making yourself more strong, you start making yourself more confident, and then you pursue your ideas ahead. That's how I came to realize my own strength after completing my master thesis in Brazil. Then, when I got back to Germany, uh, the same year of my graduation of master degree, then I got another opportunity to be part of Optimus International Germany chapter, and that also opened so many doors for me, not only in my academic sector, professional sector, but in the context of organizational perspective, in networking, and different soft skills that we need to have in order to polish our technical side of expertise. Uh, Srishti, can you hear me? If anyone has any question, thank you. I'm kind of struggling a bit with the with the thing that I'm trying to cope with the situation. Yes, that's fine. Okay, I'm getting back to my presentation slide. Here you can see another mm, another perspective in my lines of experiences. When I decided to come to Germany, I had no idea. I had no further planning of going in other parts of the world. To be really honest, I had no idea if I ever could manage this search of international experiences in my life. But things happen if you believe in your own confidence, if you believe that whatever you want to achieve in your life, do your hard work, have confidence within yourself, think positive, do your own work in the sector of your interest, and things things come in order accordingly. That's how I started to have more international experiences. As I am originally from Asia, when I decided to come to Europe, in Germany, then I had another perspective to look towards in European sector. Then I also got chance to be in Mozambique while I was doing my master study in Cologne. So when I was doing my master thesis, I got another opportunity. I said to go to Brazil, and then after completing my master thesis, uh, I came to realize that completing a research work doesn't matter if it's your master, if it's your bachelor, if it's your doctorate. If you do your work and you do not share your experiences, what is the value of the work you did or you have been doing or you will do? That feeling I had at a point of time when I thought of applying for the jobs that I wanted to do, for applying doctorate uh, in the particular subject of my interest in in the field of water. And when I really thought the challenges that I had to face, because during my during my bachelor work in Nepal, we were hardly taught about the research work we have to do. We were hardly given ideas regarding the exposure of our project works or research work in a bigger perspectives, in an international perspective. So even a local perspective, it wasn't that enough, I realized. And in my master's study, it was somehow in a better condition. I was improving my skills. I was becoming more confident, even to present myself. I wouldn't say I'm like way confident right now. I still have to learn a lot. I still have to face so many challenges till I become uh, yeah, totally confident to deliver all my ideas. But what I can say right now is that I do not fear of the things right now. If it's okay, if it's not okay, this is me, this is the person who I am, what I wanted to express myself. It's my responsibility, and doesn't matter how I deliver it to people. But if I fear that if it will be right or if it will be wrong, then I will never learn, and then I will never go ahead with my uh, with the ideas that I wanted to pursue. So when I started to learn this thing, then the fear inside me started to go slowly, and then I started to become more confident. And at the same year when I graduated, I got another opportunity to. Uh, I mean, when I researched about how do I apply in international platform to present my research work, how do I make better networking in the field of my interest, then I had different platforms to look through. Then I realized that there are platforms, there are numerous opportunities around the world. We just need to prioritize things, and then uh, we can have concrete exposure in the field of our interest. But that time when I'm saying when I started to do research, when I started to learn how to present our research work, I, I didn't know how do I shortlist the priorities. I didn't know how do I classify different opportunities, because I would think at that time, what if I miss this opportunity? What if this opportunity will not be there next year or next time when I have better flexibility? To somehow I was jumping into all the major opportunities around me. So that was kind of a false move from my side at that time. I realized, I wouldn't say completely false. That was part of the initiative that gave me kind of understanding. But at the same time, I started to realize that it is so important. It is really important to understand what you want to prioritize in your particular interest, in a particular subject within your one, like particularly in your own work. Just a minute, yes. So this is the year in 2016 when I received opportunity to present my research work, what I did in my master thesis, uh, in International Water Future Conference in Toronto, in Queen's University. And that time I started to have more network with the like-minded people of my subject, and I started to collaborate with other experts in my sector. And then the process continued. And at the same year, I came to know that there is an opportunity to apply for the doctorate. And I applied for my doctorate research work. And uh, in a few months' time of application processing, I received the scholarship from German Academic Exchange Service, uh, mm, uh, which is one of the renowned scholarships in the field of international studies in Germany. And I'm glad to have received that opportunity. Actually, I also received a scholarship to pursue my master thesis. That was the scholarship for international water supply technologies, international scholarship for water supply technologies. So somehow Germany has been providing me uh, lots of opportunities, like not only in a financial matter, at the same time with different networking opportunities, with different collaboration opportunities to plan my career ahead. And I'm continuously utilizing these kind of platforms right now as well. So here in this slide, I'm just jumping into slides because I want to connect the connection. Actually, when I started to understand what it means to have uh, a better environment to grow, then I started to look through different opportunities, options, and possibilities. And then the important thing for me was not, uh, I started to have kind of, I mean, I wanted to grow in my career. I still wanted to grow in my career. It will be a never ending process. But at that time, I wouldn't fear for the things, as I already said. So for me, I wouldn't fear to speak the vision I had inside me as a as a normal girl. Everyone has their own unique ideas to express. Doesn't matter how big mass it is or it will be. So for me, it was the same. And when I got selected to represent Seroptims International of Europe in United Nations Committee on Status of Women in New York, it happens. This is one of the biggest conference held every year in March, and I at the same year I got nominated in a National Model United Nations, National Model United Nations conference, and I was representing my university as a head delegate to present the case study in Nepal. And at the same year, I was invited by UN Women to take part in UN Women Youth Forum as one of the young water professional. So here you can see uh, one insight, one picture during that time. And it continued with my participation uh, and advocacy roles in commission on status of women uh, during different meetings, different sessions inside UN headquarters and surrounding areas as well. Mm, I'm trying to see the messages or the questions here. There's a question. I'm going to answer this question. How long have you been working in the field? If you're referring to the field of water, as I said, since I started my bachelor thesis in arsenic aquifer sailing technology, it was back then in 2010, 2009, I would say. So it's been about 10 years I'm working in the field of water. Uh, so if there is any other question, just let me check it. Uh, I'm continuously explaining. So if anyone has got any questions right now in their head, you can type in the chat box, or you can, you can say. Okay, I'm switching back to my presentation slides. Yeah, and then when I got an opportunity to pursue doctoral research in the field of water, uh, in specifically in the field of water supply and quality monitoring. So as you see here, sorry, I just realized that I had been sharing the slide in a halfway. Um, hmm. and uh, I always had that kind of connection between what I wanted to do in my bachelor thesis and what I did in my master thesis and what I'm conducting right now in my doctoral research. So every time it is related to drinking water supply and it is related to its quality. So when I did my bachelor thesis, it was regarding arsenic contamination in drinking water in wells in the Tarai area. And when I did my master thesis, it was regarding drinking water, but from the basin, river basin, and regarding its quality. And when I am doing my master PhD work right now, it is regarding water supply and its quality, and how do we support the drinking water monitoring mechanism with the help of emerging technologies like information and communication technologies like mobile applications, water quality sensors, and the emerging idea of involving citizen. Also call it citizen science, and we also call it participatory sensing. So in my master thesis, the area chosen was Rio de Janeiro, where this basin was taken as a bigger project case study area, and I was given the work for three micro basins of that particular river basin. And in my PhD right now, I am looking towards drinking water supply and its quality monitoring with the help of participatory sensing. And the area chosen right now is Pokhara Metropolitan City, which is under Kaski district. Uh, so most of you may know about or most of you might have heard, or for sure you have heard about the different waterborne diseases that actual challenge for young people, especially for the children and women. They are the mm, uh, they are the main hit for these kind of diseases, and the main causes for this kind of bacterial contamination would be poor protection of the water sources area and low maintenance of leakage and contamination issues and cross leakage of different sewer pipelines and drinking water, sewers and pipelines, and opentification and water resources contaminate. I mean, opentification in the premises of water sources. So this is just one overview. How do I uh, how do I see the main idea of my research would be to interact technological, social, and institutional perspective frameworks of like these three dimensions are really important to look through in a research perspective so that a collaborative development can be achieved for safe drinking water in the context of a local community, national context, regional context, and yeah, likewise in the global context. So ICT plays a vital role in today's world to monitor different water resources, its quality aspect in quantity aspects as well, and participatory approach. Citizen science has become another important tool to collaborate in the research work. So these three dimensions are really important in the perspective of achieving good access of drinking water to the local community, from local community to the global community. And in the present context, when we talk about youth, they are very keen to use different innovation. I mean, they are keen to utilize the idea of water innovation. They are keen to utilize the idea of uses of mobile sensors. So it is not that hard to approach this technology to serve a healthy water supply in our local community. So here are some of the appliances I've just tried to symbolize together with the terminologies. And sidewise, I have here incorporated some of the explanation the glimpse of explanations I was doing in different international platforms. Uh, I said that I started to search the the medium of exposure of the research work I had been doing. So there was another opportunity where I got accepted to present my master thesis. Uh, Actually, the connection of paper I made was the interaction between my work in my master study and the present research work in my yeah, I mean present research work for my doctoral project. So I presented my research paper in international conference on water security and climate change because like if you are from IOE Pulchok, it is not a new thing to have an interest to present your work in AIT to visit that place. So I was the same normal engineer or same normal girl, wanted to go there, wanted to see the place, why it was so popular in our university. I always had that question, and that was one of the pleasant moments when I was presenting my research in that university, because this university is considered to be one of the leading universities, at least in our part of the world. And this is another slide where I just wanted to explain that being a young person, you're provided with so many national to global opportunities to explain your ideas. It doesn't have to be piles of ideas. It doesn't have to be yeah, $1 million ideas. It just have to be your basic ideas, and you just need to be there to present your work. That's how you can have self empowerment, and that leads to empowering your community and the surrounding. And it multiplies, and it goes multiplication goes on. If you start doing empowerment work through self empowerment, then there is no time you realize that it is being multiplied. And actually it is a positive in whatever you are doing right now is somehow giving another sense of encouragement to the surrounding. Then you feel like doing more, you feel like understanding more, and you feel like giving back more to your society. So that's what I have been feeling over these years, and for sure it will not going to be lower in days to come. It will go higher. I mean, it will go higher with the craving that I have inside me. There are so many days when I think uh, when I think myself with the confusion, with the frustrating feelings that comes inside, but that's just a part of the process. Everyone, everyone goes through it, and I am no exception. So I always try to take it as a usual procedure, and I move ahead, thinking it as a bitter test in the part of my uh, in the process of having a better food. So it was one of the moment when I was explaining what a youth person has to deliver, what a youth person has what a youth person can expect, and what a youth person has to deliver to the world in the context of a mutual collaboration in the development, in the mutual collaboration in empowering people in STEM sector as well, because I was representing my university. I was representing Soroptim's International of Europe at that time, and that was the place. It happened in Saudi Arabia for the first time, with this huge scale of people being involved in that conference. So after that conference, we came to hear that uh, there were more women wanting to have change. There were more youth who wanted to voice out for their ideas. So yeah, sometimes you just need to mm, search for the connection, and then things comes in order. That's how it works. There is. I just wanted to see if there is any question. Oh, sorry, I didn't look through the questions. Now I'm again trying to answer some of the questions. Um, what are the similarities and differences you found between developed countries and Nepal in case of water resource, water treatment projects in research as well as field tech? Yeah, tech field. And what are the core platforms you would like to recommend to build a kitchen cabinet of same interest, developing a peer network of mentorship? Yes, actually, the differences between developed country and the countries like ours, developing countries, are the use of I mean, the similarities would be the demand for sure, that we are having the use of different technologies, like in drinking water supply system. They are already into digitization here, in the context of Cologne, and we are still using the same manual procedure while delivering water. I mean, while supplying water to the households, and while collecting data for quantity and quality. So uh, there is a huge advancement in the context of digitization in developing countries. It's moving in a positive progress. But in the context of water, digitization is uh, still a matter of big question, especially when I talk about our country, Nepal. There is still like there is still people wanting to use the same manual procedure, and uh, they are avoiding the new approaches of using digital technologies, and that is actually hindering the process of yeah, securing better opportunities. And what are the core platforms I would like to recommend? Would be there are you may have heard about international water associations. You may have heard about international water resources associations. They provide a huge network of people. They provide a different group of expertise, and these kind of platforms actually help us to have a better mentorship and network. That is another good question. Did you got any opportunities of quota sort of things by being from a privileged country during projects? Yeah, while applying for scholarships, for sure, there has been cases that uh, developing countries are being prioritized. So I can't say for all the projects that we have been going through, but yeah, and we also do not know the internal selection process, but there are while applying for the projects, there are cases they give priority for the developing countries. And moving back to the slide, this is another opportunity. While I was given chance to present the research work of my master thesis, and also the work I have been doing in my PhD work, and it was during World Water Congress in Mexico, and I was also representing World Parliament for Water. Oh, I also forgot to mention when there was one question regarding different platforms. Actually, World Youth Parliament for Water is one of the good platforms a young professional in water sector can have, and can network with other like-minded people. Similar other networks are there: Young Water Professional Group in Rural Water Supply Network, Young Water Professional Group in International Water Association, and a water youth network. So there are numerous opportunities. We just need to look through. We just need to open up. We just need to look for those opportunities. If you understand, if you just reach out to them, then you will learn it slowly, step by step, step by step. So I already said that Soroptim's International has been providing um a person like me, a young girl, or I mean, a person like me, being a young woman in water sector, I had so many good opportunities. I have been receiving so many opportunities to network with experts in my sector. And when we talk about water, women, and leadership, there is not a single context we can look through. I mean, water can be related to energy. Water can be related to climate change. I mean, water is one of the main linking. I mean, linking idea when we talk about issues and solutions in the different context. So, water is one of the cross-cutting issues we have to deal with different issues and solutions, and we cannot deny this fact. So, for the year 2017 to 2019, uh, Soroptim's International had its president's appeal, and more than 130 countries around the globe worked for the same global idea, and they collected the fund, and they supported the projects in three regions of the world uh, in the basic format, but there were numerous other projects going on in different parts with the support of members around the world. And this is about water security and climate change conference in 2017-2018. It was happened in Germany in 2017 and 2018 in Kenya. It was the same series of conference which I mentioned about Thailand. The first conference of water security and climate change was held in Thailand, and the second was in Germany, and the third was in Kenya. So there has been immense learning when I meet people not only in the sector of water, but in the context of women empowerment, in the context of uh, exposure in different sectors like energy, climate change, because when I go for projects around the world, then I not only meet people from the water sector, but also with other experts. And then I came to realize more linkages between my field of interest and their field of interest. So for me, every travel opportunity is another learning experience, and so I have believed it more that traveling is another part of study we one can have, and it gives you not only theoretical knowledge but practical knowledge at the same time, and in a depth learning you can have with people who are working for that idea, and it's up to you how you continue with this interest and how you continue to learn for that particular work. And when I had to present my uh, when I had to present in United Nations Commission on Status of Women 2019 last year, the topic was given vocational training of women, an excellent investment, and the case study area was Nepal. So at that time, one of the main tasks for me was to understand the woman technician. Uh, uh, the women who are taking basic training, vocational training, and who are acquiring uh, life skill jobs, so that their hard life would not be harder. And most of the case, women are not taking jobs in technical sector, like yeah, plumbing, or in being a technician in water supply sector, in hydropower. They were given, or they were taken more courses in other skills in sewing, or in other parts more, or in health sector. So there is more to research, and there is more to encourage young women, or girls, women in STEM sector, as we all know, and as we all are voicing out more for this work. This is again another mm, time when I was explaining my ideas in the same platform, but in different in the different opportunity. Uh, I'm telling it again and again that there were numerous opportunities when uh, I had to explain why I wanted to be a water professional, and why I am raising my voice for the girls and women. For me, the simple answer would be uh, water is a resource we cannot live without. And being a woman, I always see that there is still a lot to empower for. And being a person in this sector, if I can help another professional, if I can help another young girl to pursue her career, or even a normal young person, doesn't matter what gender he or she has got, if a person gets interest, or empowerment, then that will be reward for me, or that will be more encouragement for me to share my experience, the better experiences. This is one of the time in Japan when I was supposed to express the challenges and the opportunities one can have in participatory sensing, and I was explaining the context of Liknath water supply scheme in Nepal. And here I was really happy to get the interest of some of the young people uh, of Tokyo, who were present in that conference. They actually wanted to come to Nepal for the exchange project, and wanted to help for the this kind of research project. So uh, that was kind of a positive vibe for me to know like-minded perspective uh, while I was presenting my work there. And again, this was another time when I was supposed to talk about the water sector, transforming the water sector uh, through the power of women and youth. And at that time, the session was women and youth living apart together. That was a session where we were explaining our work, where women and youth were the vital components of our research work, or project works, whatever all of us panelists were conducting right now, or before, at a part of time. And the main organizations at that time was Water Youth Network, Women for Water Partnership, and other universities like mine who were present in the panel. Let me check if there was any question. So I'm almost done with the slides now. So this was a recent opportunity when I was presenting in the topic intergenerational dialogue on war and peace, and it was held in UN Geneva, Switzerland, and it was also supported by International Secretariat for Water, Blue Peace Movement, Geneva Water Hub, and I was given the topic to discuss was local opportunities. Uh, uh, I mean, local initiatives in order to uh, bring solution for conflict management with the help of local initiatives, local inclusion. This was just a mm, glimpse where I was presenting. I mean, I just wanted to present that the time when I graduated from my Bachelor of Engineering, when I graduated from my Master of Engineering in Water Resources, and when I'm pursuing my doctorate in hydroinformatics, and I'm glad that I'm one of the facilitator for Girls in Tech Nepal. And this is the quotation I feel from my heart, that education is the key to unlock our full potentials to serve ourselves, not only ourselves, but our family, society, nation, and the world. So we are privileged enough to pursue our education, whatever we want, but there are so many people in the different parts of our uh, country that are not receiving this opportunity. And I'm also referring to those girls who are not aware what kind of career they can pursue and what kind of opportunities might wait for them in the long run if they really have the confidence to pursue it. So our responsibility is not just to be educated, but to have an impactful life, to help others to reach their goals as well, or to make them understand what they can reach for. This is just one overview where I am developing one project with Soroptimus International Club of Columba here in Cologne regarding water informatic training for drinking water security. Sorry, it is in German language because I presented them in German language, and the case study area would be Nepal. So this project is under discussion, and hope I mean, there will be a project soon in this context. So these are some of my experiences. Thank you for listening with this passions. Thank you all for being patient and placing your questions in between. So, Anita ji, now you can. Hello, can you hear me?
Thank you so much, Amrita ma'am, for the beautiful session. So we do have a few questions in the chat section of our team meet, and we also have a few questions in Slido. So I think uh, uh,
Okay, I do. I checked it. Ah, sorry, I checked it before and I forgot to check it later. What are the challenges as women to work in this sector? Yeah, that is one of the important question that I always think for. As I said in the beginning of my webinar session, everywhere I go, it doesn't matter if it's inside Nepal or if it's inside Germany or if it's inside Brazil or if it's inside America, you have like there are cases when you are compelled to think that is it the only reason I'm not getting a good environment because I'm a woman? Because where like there is an example in a scientific perspective. Wherever we go in a in big platforms or in international big conferences in the context of water or climate change or other I would say other energy conferences or other technology conferences, nowadays the dimension is changing, the this strata is changing slowly, but in most of the cases, women or like young girls are not given opportunity to be present to present their work in the panel sessions. I mean, uh, they are being represented, but this is still not represented well. And especially when you do project works, you I hate this feeling that you have to go to your project work and you get objectified and you get judged just being a girl, just being a normal uh, just being a normal woman. For example, when I pursue my project work in Nepal, uh, I crossed 30 and I'm still unmarried. And people have a serious question about my marriage. There is one question: could you please share how you handle the pressure of family and getting married versus doing a PhD? For me, I'm engaged and I'm still unmarried, but I can understand this kind of, yeah, pressure of family about getting married for sure. Sometimes it becomes more of my frustration, it becomes more of my anxiety just because there is a huge pressure in Nepal that I have to get married more than I have to do my research in Nepal. And that's why I don't deny this anxiety when I had in the beginning of in the first year of my PhD, because that time the pressure was so high. Uh, my family, my relatives, they told me that I have to get married as soon as possible. And I wanted to have more time. Till I want to, I mean, I didn't want to take pressure to do research and to marry at the same time. So for me, it was simple. I am having good support from my partner, but I didn't want to make this decision just to be or formally, yeah, formal marriage culture in our community. So for me, it is a constant pressure. It is a constant anxiety I get time to time, but now I'm better in handling this kind in better position to handle this kind of pressure. And for me, as I said, fear is part of the process, and for me fear is just a small part of the process. For me, it's decreasing day by day. For fear for me is just uh, to fear if I do not get better opportunities, if I miss good opportunities uh, in the course of time when I have to do similar projects at the same time. But there is no fear for me right now as a woman not getting married, as a woman just in the group of male colleagues or male yeah, friends. There is no matter of fear. Just being a young woman, uh, when there are people with experienced, yeah, there are more people with a high level of experience and their age as well. So for me, I'm in the process of being more matured in facing the challenges. Do you have plan of coming back Nepal to work in upgrading the water supply sector? For sure. Yeah, the answer is big yes. That's why when I had to choose the topic for my PhD work, I had no doubt because in the course of my master study, I already promised myself that whatever topic I will make for my PhD, I will make a study area in Nepal. I thought that, and the main reason was to have my network back. The main reason was to understand the issues more in depth, because the person I'm becoming right now is still a immature stage, I would say, because for me, doctorate to do PhD research is just a process. You're understanding the problem in a context, in a part of depth, but you will not be expert. So this is just a starting point, I would say. And through this doctoral research, I would like to connect the long-term vision in my perspective to see the water sector in a better digitization, or in other words, to see the Nepal water supply system uh, in a digital water supply system. So there is one question, I think. Despite the challenge with the language here in Brazil, what did you think of the experience? Yeah, I know this person, Wondersome. Thank you for being a part of this webinar today. For other participants, I just want you to know that Wonderson was one of the school boy uh, while I was pursuing my master thesis, and it was back then in 2014. So it has been more than 6 years, and he was at that time in his school, and he was being a part of this a citizen science project for water quality monitoring. And at that time, I received a huge support from Brazil. I received a huge support from Nova Friburgo, and there was a good language of smile at that time. So for me, as yeah, uh, there is one funny context when I had problems expressing myself in some of the time, like in some time. I mean, in some moments I was using Google Translate, placing the computer there and translating the language to to that person, and that person was doing the same for me. So it was a hectic process for sure, but for me it was a big learning opportunity at the same time, and to receive the positive vibe from Brazilian people. So the experience was, yeah, the experience was wonderful. And thank you so much, Wonder, for your question and for being a part of this webinar.
Amritaji, I think we have one more question in Slido about mentorship.
Okay, just a minute. Are you willing to provide what mentorship? Oh, that would be nice. Yes, I must admit today it was for the first time I was delivering webinar from my side, like in other part, like I mean from other part of the world, not being in person to person contact. I'm more familiar to the podium presentation and in person presentation, direct consultation. So for me, it was I was hesitating more whether you were listening to me. How was your expression? I mean, how were the expressions from participant side, and also from the moderation side? So thanks for bearing with my complexities and challenges today that I faced. And yes, the answer would be yes. I would be happy to provide a one-to-one mentorship. So you can contact Girls in Tech Nepal Genese Academy or directly to me via email. Thank you.
Um, Thank you so much, Amrita ma'am. So I think we don't have any more questions. So audience, if you have more questions, you can still send them in the chat section of Google Meet or in Slido. Um, yeah, so if you still have something to ask about with Amrita ji, you can still send questions. And and thank you. So I see a lot of thank
Thank
yous.
you. Yes, thank you.
So
Thank
yeah,
you, Nikita.
so I do request all of you to fill the
Thank you,
feedback form
Patricia.
that will help us and also Amrita ji to improve in our future webinar sessions. So I request you to please fill the feedback form so that we can do better webinar sessions in the future and we can create more activities or programs that you'll be interested in.
Yes. Thank you, Anita Ji, for moderating today's session. And I'm so glad to have huge participation from different parts of the world, and to know to get people back from different places where I did my master thesis, where I did my bachelor. So they were colleagues, they were students. So I'm so glad, and thank you, Golden Tech team, core team, for handling this opportunity, and Janis Academy, Cloud Academy, for providing the support all the time. And I will look forward for the upcoming opportunities. And I again apologize for today's complexities and misunderstanding or confusions in between. uh, I will assure for sure I will be more prepared next opportunities, and I will give my best to support. Doesn't matter if it would be one-to-one consultation, or if there will be more common questions. I will be more happy to help you out. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Amritaji. So for all the audiences, we will also provide you the footage of this webinar and also the presentation given by Amritaji and also some additional resources that Amritaji will be providing us. So please fill the feedback form and also look forward to the follow-up email that we will be sending you in a few days. So I hope you had a great time in today's webinar. So I still don't see any more
Mm.
additional questions. So I think we are done for this session today. Thank you so much, Amritaji, for
Thank
tuning
you so much.
in, for giving us this beautiful session. I think that this